Talkers. Kevin Bermeister was born in South Africa and is an entrepreneur that has developed several businesses in the computer, multimedia, and internet industries. Bermeister is an active investor in Israeli real estate. Kevin Bermeister is a major benefactor and supporter of numerous charitable organizations, including the Hunger Project, United Israel Appeal, Jewish Care, Uni-One Foundation, and Jake Slatter, a foundation for research into cystic fibrosis. The City of David, and Binyan Adei Ad. He was recently awarded the Sheva Center Leadership in Philanthropy Award. Not bad. I'm pretty honored.
Yeah, well,
it's just a few. I didn't even I cut it a bit because it was pretty long.
The list goes on. You know,
wow.
It's part of the process.
That's amazing.
Journey, you know?
Kevin, thank you for coming here, for taking your time. I know you're going back to Australia, so I managed to snatch you for a little conversation. Where were you on October 7th?
I was in Sydney, in Australia, and we were sort of just rapidly trying to process it. We obviously was Simchas Torah, it was Shabbos, and we had heard some news. And our immediate reaction was really to struggle against the tendency to become depressed and immediately introverted. But it was Simchas Torah, so we had a conflict like everybody else. What do you do? And so we strengthened ourselves in the Simcha of Torah, and we continued through that day very strong, even stronger than perhaps we would ever have celebrated before.
Nice.
And we knew that the inevitable would be revealed to us at the end of Shabbat. Unfortunately, the news got worse and worse as the days went on. But,
I'm asking you because for somebody who lives so far, but his heart and soul is here and in the money. So it's a pretty big deal.
It was a very big deal for all Jews, I think, around the world. We didn't know what it would be. Somebody said to me, on the day or immediately afterwards, what do I think, what's going to happen? I said, listen, I think it's going to be 3 years before we really come out of this. I think it's going to take time. It's a very, very significant event, a very significant attack, and it has ramifications for us in all sorts of areas. But the fact that it happened on Shabbat, Simchas Torah, was
pretty
for me beyond this world, and I knew that
like holy,
yeah, absolutely, something that was beyond us, and none of us could comprehend it and really interpret it. And I think as the days go on, we're beginning to see perhaps some light at the end of the tunnel. We see that we are alone in this world. It's not a bad thing. It's okay. We're okay. We're okay to be alone. We're not okay to be lonely, but there's a big difference between being confident and strong and self-assured and capable and really understanding who we are as a people and that we really have a service to give to this world. And therefore, being alone is okay.
That was my next question. It's so funny because we are alone now.
Yep.
There's no other way.
Seems that way.
America is turning their back nicely.
Yeah.
So, as you said, it's good to feel this positivity from you, from somebody who's, very much into it.
Listen, I live in Australia. It's an isolated place.
You're used to being lonely. Okay, so that's not fair.
But no, the truth is that we always have been alone. We are a holy nation in a sense. It means that we keep separate from people, generally speaking. Of course, we interact in the world. We're part of the world. We have a lot of interests in the world. We contribute to the world.
You have a lot of businesses in America.
Yeah, I have businesses in America. I have businesses in Israel. I've had businesses in many places of the world.
Is that influencing you, the fact that there is this tension?
Not really, but I do have partners in America or, investors in America, people who I've been associated with for many, many years, friends.
Not only Jewish.
Not only Jewish in business, but and I see that there is a certain degree of caution that is really or restraint that is practiced by a lot of my American colleagues for fear that their business life would be affected by the revelation of their Jewishness or their Jewish feelings or their real feelings. Whereas I've kind of, thank God, been able to extricate myself from that in Australia. where a little bit, in a sense, it's been very good for me to be able to live my Jewish self and still being business, in the world. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Especially now we're coming close to the elections in America. Are you for Trump coming back?
I think Trump was fantastic for Israel and did a great job for us here in Jerusalem, in the Golan Heights, and in general. We were very, very close to annexing Area C during the Trump era.
Right.
I truly believe we need to complete that process. I think a Trump regime will permit us to do that.
Yeah.
We just have to be ready to do it. We were not ready to do it in the previous regime. And I think that, from an Israel perspective, I'm very pro-Trump.
Okay.
If I were an American, it's a very hard decision, the Biden versus Trump. But from an Israeli point of view, it's
totally.
I believe Trump is not going to mix the messages in the way that Biden. I'm not saying that Biden has not been good for us. He certainly, historically, through his entire life, has traditionally been good for Jews. But the Democrat Party is
falling apart.
Is a monster, and
it's a monster.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no way to control it. Especially when you are drawing a very significant portion of your constituents are going to be from Israel haters or from, more liberal minds that are typically, against, conservative views and Israel generally.
Talking about the Democrats, which it reflects the left in Israel, which is also pretty strong, and this hatred that has to stop. And the unity that has to overcomes everything. I mean, because we're alone, we have only each other.
Right.
Do you feel this strain here when you come here? Is it a problem for you?
It is. It's more of a problem for me when I'm not here, because the views expressed on social media are always exaggerated and always focused on the conflict between left and right.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are here, you don't really experience it that much. I mean, it exists. It's here. Of course it's here. But I think that life goes on, and the priorities in life are the focus front and center. And of course, the underlying stream of liberal versus conservative views exists every single day on the extremes. You've got 10% on either side and 80% in the middle, and you really get influenced by the 80% in the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk to you as a person a businessman who invests so much in Israel, talking to other businessmen who watch us. Is it a good time now? Would you incentive now to? You're building left and right.
Look, I've been investing here now for almost 20 years, and Baruch Hashem, they've been really fantastic. We've had great results. But I got to tell you, it's a long haul. It's not simple. If you invest in the type of properties that I've been investing in, the outcomes, the profitability is very good. But it takes a long time, and
Patience.
You need to be patient, okay? And you need to understand risk, and you need to manage it very carefully.
You must be followed by an Israeli team who are very...
Yeah, look, I have a very good team of people here, and I have investors here. My first project, which is the Nov Zion project, okay?
Which we visited, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
yes, we
great. It's really been fantastic. We're building a much bigger neighborhood than the one that existed there prior to our building. We've now completed 135 homes. We've sold 95% of that inventory. And we're going into the second phase of the project, which will probably be another 300 odd homes. And for the first time in almost 15 years of investment there in that project, I'm taking some money back out of the project, but I didn't take any money out for 15 years. So most investors will not tolerate that kind of length of time for return on investment. And there are particular complexities in some of these very difficult projects. In that project, we fought with bondholders and shareholders, and there's a long history there against Basar al-Mazri, who was bidding against us, and there was an intent to build a mosque on the site and all sorts of things. And in the end, there's a commercial real estate deal that you've got to basically work through in order to prevail and to proceed to build a neighborhood.
Wow. Between all these projects, real estate, media, technology, what is your favorite? Like, what are you geared for?
Look, I'm still excited by technology. I love technology. I've surrounded myself with 3 or 4 companies that I started up with very long views to technology developments. And
Israel for technology is...
Yeah, well, Israel is probably at least one of the world centers for technology, and there's so much investment going on here, and so many smart, brilliant people.
Right.
In the one business which we've been mostly active with in Israel recently is our advertising business. We have a global advertising platform that we've been developing for many, many years, and we've applied it to Israel advocacy. So we are now doing Hasbara work
fantastic.
Around the world, delivering impressions into places, hotspots like South Africa or Brazil.
Which is pretty tough, South Africa.
Or the top 15 most anti-Semitic campuses in the United States. Really influencing minds with impressions. So impressionable minds is really our focus, how to deliver pro-Israel positive messaging over a long period of time.
That's fantastic.
And really start to shift agendas, improve the ignorance about Israel. These are the sorts of things that I've been involved with. And in real estate, I've focused here initially on tourism and residential, a mix of both. I see tourism the next 3 years are going to be very difficult periods of time, but the timing for us has been fantastic because we have a lot of development going on. We have some hotel construction going on.
You're in the Leonardo.
Yeah, it's our hotel. We have a building permit to build 26 stories. We hope to build 40 by the time we finished with our process, and we're renovating the existing hotel that we've been operating for the past 10 years. And then I have 2 new hotels on North Zion, just above the neighborhood there, that will be built, and another 100 residential apartments. And we have 2 or 3 other major properties that we're in development.
When you come into Jerusalem, do you start seeing the difference of the skyscrapers coming up? It's incredible.
It's unbelievable to see the changing face of Jerusalem. This will become the center here, very close to where you are right now, will become a tech hub. You will see all the world's major technology companies with offices and staff in Jerusalem. Look, today with the train line, Tel Aviv is a suburb of Jerusalem.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
28 minutes on a train.
And the gallery that takes you with a car straight into town.
Fantastic.
It's amazing. And Tel Aviv is Manhattan, basically.
Right, exactly. But it's it's very easily accessible.
I want to finish off talking about your philanthropy, which is incredible. How does it feel to give? I mean, when you have, it's nice to give, but not everybody that has gives.
Giving is an acquired skill. It's not easy to give. And that's the point. The point is to really struggle against yourself. You've worked hard, you've earned money, and you're always struggling against yourself that doesn't want to give.
Right.
Okay.
It's so true.
Because you worked so
saying
hard. But if you overcome that, that's what giving is all about. It's actually about your transformation, the act of giving. Once I learned how to give. On one occasion, a very good friend of mine here, who lives in Tel Aviv, was injured in the Lebanon war during that time. and he was in a coma for 3 months. And his father had been in the war in 1948, and he had befriended a sofer who was in Me'asharim in Jerusalem.
A writer, you mean?
A writer, sofer, writer. When this friend of mine was injured and he was in this coma, this writer, this sofer, this holy man, would come and say Tehillim, say prayers, psalms, by his bed every day for 3 months.
Wow.
Okay. And when he finally came to, and my friend realized what he had invested his time doing, he was totally appreciative, of course, and they became great friends. Anyway, he took me one Friday afternoon to meet him in Me'asharim in his shop, and I walked in there and I saw, basically a hole in the wall. I mean, a few pieces of parchments that he'd write mezuzahs or tefillin or something like that.
I can imagine.
And we were talking there, chatting, hi, it's hugging each other. Haven't seen each other for a while. Anyway, the next thing, a bunch of guys come in, Hasidim or Charedim from the local community asking for tzedakah. Okay, and I'm looking at these guys going, hold on a second, this guy doesn't have a zak to his name, not a penny. Okay, well, what are you doing? Okay, he gave every single one of them, tzedakah. Okay, wow. Everyone that came in the shop, and there were 6 or 7, 8 of them, in a line. And I realized then it's not about the amount that you give, it's about the giving.
Nice.
This
is a beautiful lesson.
So
I really like it.
It was a life lesson. Yeah.
Wow. Especially now, I think there's a lot to give to rebuild this country from inside out and outside in.
Correct.
So I would love you to even, because of who you are and the people you know, and to push people to come and give.
Yeah, it's important. And but by the way, I am seeing people who have never given before, even Israelis, who really didn't understand what it was to give, and always felt that it was the obligation of the government to look after certain things and do certain things. But this war has actually caused people to dig into their pockets, and give. Israelis, like from their hearts. Against their knowledge or their practices that they have practiced for all their lives, but suddenly they've opened up and they are giving, and they're feeling in a way a bit cheated because they're saying that it's up to me to give. Well, the government should be doing this, but I'm having to do this. Okay, that's what it's all about. It's really all about giving and participating. Maybe the government should be doing a better job and it should be doing this and that. Okay, fine, but that's a different discussion. It's about you. Yeah. And you, by giving, are going to be a better version of yourself.
Wow, that's so inspiring, really. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are you going to be moving to Israel eventually?
Please God, soon.
With Mashiach, maybe? Or you're free before?
I'm not sure I'm waiting for Mashiach, but I'm waiting for Mashiach anyway.
With all your real estate, you got to believe it's coming.
I'd like to beat Mashiach to
oh, gosh.
To the move anyway,
Good luck for all your incredible journey.
And you
it's
too.
really fascinating.
For the great work you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good trip back to Australia.
Thank you.
And hope you're inspired. Keep on giving. That's my line for today.